Sure. Very good. Welcome to Faith and Calm. This is class 258. Uh, we have mixed feelings going on. Obviously, everybody's extremely concerned about what's going on in Israel. I don't think we could probably talk about anything else, but let's connect the Parsha, connect the events, connect the time with, and understand a little bit more of the deeper meaning of what's happening rather than just listening to news report after news report after news report, which probably just makes you nervous after a while and anxious. So once you see the deeper patterns and how this is all planned out and how you know, all the prophecies talking about this time are amazingly lined up. It gives you a sense that, you know what, God is in control. I don't know where exactly this roller coaster is going, but I feel that, there's a presence more in this time of God together with us and leading us where we're going. So, on that respect, I'm going to continue to talk about this idea of what the name of this operation is called. Everything happens. The Rebbe taught us everything we hear and see is a lesson, and especially if it's connected to a parsha, which we're going to read in a week, which is Parshas Balak, which says this parsha, where we read the line, Am Kelavi Yakum, that the Jewish people are like a lion rising. And it's very much the case. It's just amazing. I mean, just think of it this way. We're reading Parshas Shalach last week, which was talking about the spies. And the spies, they scared all the Jewish people, and they were nervous the entire night. And they said, we're not going there. It's going to consume us. It's wars. It's all this other kind of stuff. So they didn't want to go into the land of Israel because of war. Do you realize that there are like 100,000 Israelis trying to get back into the country right now? Cyprus's Chabad house is overrun with 25,000 people. It's just amazing. The Jewish people are amazing. They're all trying to get in, from Cyprus. That's one way to get in if you get a boat from Cyprus. It's just, and I sent videos out of people, who are sitting in their houses with no windows, all blown out, and they're playing the piano, and it's all a shambles, and they're singing. Because I think that they realize that, the miracles one after another after another. I mean, one guy saying, I was in Tel Aviv and it's just amazing. There was always this empty lot across the street from me. And for some reason, I never knew why one lot should be empty in Tel Aviv in the middle. And, I saw that the missile landed right there. Or just 2 days ago, Nate Sion, it was a whole apartment building, 40 rooms destroyed. And everybody was in the bunker. Everybody came out and nobody was even scratched. The place was a shambles, but it's just, but no people were hurt. No people, not a single injury. It's really, I mean, it just keeps going on with all the miracles. I mean, how did the Israeli Air Force get over there? How did they set up bases inside of Iraq with weapons, with missiles, with everything else to blow up the anti-aircraft barriers? How do you get away with that? How do you send? Who goes there? How do you set a whole thing up? A military operation inside the country? It's just, it's not natural. That's what it is. It's God's directing nature itself in a very high level. Now, so that's the outward stories of what's going on. Now we'll go a little bit more into the inner story. So the Rebbe once explained that this line, why are Jews compared to like a lion? It's especially a lion that says afterwards that he crouches down and then he rises up and that he drinks the blood of the shlal of the slain, and then he feeds the teref to his children. The tref. Teref means treif. You don't eat treif. Even even there's a question there on Ishes Chayil. He says, Titan Teref Levesa, she gives Teref to her family, which usually is just translated as food, but we have to understand why did they use the word treif for that? Why did they refer it that way? Anyway, all those questions. So a lion, there's an interesting thing the Rebbe says about a lion. A lion is an animal, and generally when we have an animal, we can domesticate them. Many animals you can domesticate. And when they're domesticated animals, then there's a law that if it causes damages, you only pay half the damages, at least the first, second, and third time. If it keeps doing it, then it's considered no longer to be no longer first, second, and third. And if it keeps doing it, then it's considered a wild animal. But there are certain animals that are considered to be wild by nature. They can never be tamed. One of them, a snake, but another one is a lion. And that is what the Jewish people are. The world thinks that we're crouching, we're little lambs, and we have to conform to the world, and we have to ask pretty please from the EU and from the UN and everybody else to do what we have to do. And what the Jews have discovered in this time is that they are really our lions. That they don't have to, that when they leap, and they do, miracles happen beyond anything else. I mean, more miracles are happening now because the Jews said unconditional surrender. This is evil and it has to be wiped out. And all of a sudden, it's more successful than all the other wars that we've ever done. It's just amazing. And that's because when the Jews who represent good in this world, they do what they're supposed to do, then guess what? God is helping us. And it's just helps us in ways that are embedded in this world in so many ways, in so many ways. We keep seeing and seeing. So the Rebbe is saying the Jewish people are like a lioness, and we have risen, and we are strong, and we're now beginning to figure out that we're really strong, and that we really aren't, just a weak lamb, and that and the whole world is impressed with us, and they're just letting us do the whole work. Well, we'd like them to join with us. There is a lot of evil to be destroyed, but nevertheless, it is amazing what is going on. And it's more amazing because you realize how dangerous it is too. And that's also true. And we do cry for all the people who have suffered in this battle. But on the other hand, you have to realize the vast, amazing amount of miracles on the other side that are happening to Jewish people. The Or Chaim says another thing about this idea of a lion and why Jews are compared to a lion. And he says three ideas. He says, one, you don't have to train a lion to be a predator. It sort of knows how to do it automatically. For example, so you hear these stories in the news of somebody who had a monkey and a chimpanzee in their house, who were raising a baby lion in their apartment in the Bronx. And it was a nice, sweet animal. And all of a sudden one day, remembered it was a wild animal. And that's the idea of the lion. Ultimately, we are not just couch potatoes. We actually take part in what's going on. A second part is that we get stronger as time goes on. The lion, the older it gets, the stronger it gets. Same with the Jews. The more we've been persecuted, the more we have this resilience. I don't know if you could have said this 40 years ago, that everybody would be fighting to get to Israel. They were trying to run away when there was all that inflation that was going on. They ran away from Israel. They said, we're leaving. This is impossible. And now you see Jews are fighting to get into the land. So it's really, we've learned that we have a certain strength. And that's another thing. And then the third thing is he says that our enemies also, they're more impressed with us than we even realize what we're impressed with. They're just blown away with how strong, how incredibly brave we are. They didn't expect this to happen at all. They thought, that Netanyahu was busy with a wedding and visitors from Argentina and all this other kind of stuff. They didn't realize, exactly what happens when the lion roars. And the last one comes from Chaim Luzzatto. And Chaim Luzzatto says the following about it. It's interesting that the Jews at the end of time, there'll be a war called the War of Gog and Magog. Gog, who's the king of the country of Magog. And they will come and they will fight against the Jews. And the Jews will eat the spoils. Now he says, what does that mean? And it means as follows, that this word teraf comes into the picture, that there are teraf is 289, which if you know anything of Gematria, so you just have 288 plus all the letters together, then it comes up to 289. 288 is an interesting number. It refers to the same Rapach, the 258 Metsutso sparks that fell when the world was created. They were captured by the forces of Kripa, and I'll explain a little bit about that. But anyway, there are these 288 sparks of holiness that were originally planted in the world, and it's the job of humanity, and especially the Jews, to elevate and to extract these sparks of holiness from the mundane world. And that is what food is all about. Food is called lechem because it's a fight, it's a battle. You have to fight with the forces of this world to pull out the sparks of holiness. Every time a Jew does a mitzvah, every time somebody uses food in the right way, every time somebody doesn't succumb to their fears, to their anxiety and everything else, and strong and does mitzvahs, then we release a certain amount of energy. And when we search for quick fixes, quick easy highs, quick get money, get supplies, fun and stuff like that, rather than doing the mitzvahs and the tasks that we're supposed to do, it satisfies you for a while, but it's fake energy. And that is what battling the forces of Klippa is all about. And he says that's what the Jews do when they become a lion. They take the taraf, they take the sparks, and they use it for holiness. So I wanted to tell you a story about this because one of the big questions people are asking is, that sounds very nice and very interesting, but what about me? Little old me, very nice. Lubavitcher Rebbe says the way we help the Jews in Israel is we do more mitzvahs. Okay, I had somebody put on tefillin, I told them to put on a candle. I really don't feel inside, in my gut, inside who I am, that I am really, thank you, Adasa. Yeah, no. Yeah, I'm gonna get there. So she said the lion. Sorry, like that. So what was I saying? You distracted me.
I'm sorry. I was saying, what about little old me?
What about little old me? What am I doing? How am I helping? How am I on the front lines? The Jews who are fighting, who are in the battle, in the war, I understand them, but we're all in this battle. We're all feel part of this battle, but I don't see it. I don't necessarily feel it. So I was listening to Rabbi YY's older brother, Simon Jacobson, and he said an interesting thing this week. He said that he got a letter from somebody, an email. The guy says, I am a musician. I live in upstate New York. Doesn't sound like he's religious because he says, I play music in bars and other places, and most of it is rock music. And I don't do Jewish things. I don't do Jewish music, but I do, all sorts of other gigs and so forth. So he says, last Thursday, I was in a bar in Poughkeepsie, New York. And it was right after Yud Zayin Sivan, the 17th of Sivan, which was the day that the Jews bombed started bombing the nuclear reactors in Iran. And I felt I had to do something. So I played the song, Avenu Shalom Aleichem. And I explained to the crowd, who was mostly, I didn't see a single Jew there. It was, a bar in Poughkeepsie. I explained to them that this is a Jewish peace song. And I want everybody together to pray for peace and salvation in the land for Israel and for all people, that there should be peace. And everybody, joined in and sang the song, and it was very nice. And I went home. That night, I had a dream. This is the guy writing. And it was a very strange dream. The secretary of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rabbi Groner, I guess he knows who he was, he came to me in the dream, and he had a message for me. The message was from the Rebbe, and the Rebbe said that he wants to thank me very much for singing that song in the bar, and for bringing strength and encouragement to the Jewish people, because there happened to be a Jewish woman in the audience. She heard your song, and she was impressed, and she went home that Friday night, and she lit candles that she hadn't done in many, many years. So the guy continues in his email to Simon Jacobson, and he says, I still didn't think this was, I just thought it was a weird dream. I said, who am I? I'm just a guy. I don't know why I'm getting this kind of a dream, and so forth. Very nice, but it's an odd dream. And I don't really, connect with this at all. And then he says, a day later, I get a letter in the mail from a lady in Poughkeepsie. And she says, I haven't lit candles in 50 years since my bat mitzvah, but you so impressed me with that song, I decided to go home and light candles. Oh, and by the way, I left this part out too. When the Rebbe came to him in the dream, he said, and you don't think that what you did in that bar had no effect. It's giving strength to the Jews on the front line. And that lady who lit the candles, she actually helped save many lives who are fighting the battle in Israel. And that was the message from the Rebbe in the dream. So We are in special times. We're all lions waking up, and we're all doing our own thing, small, little. But every time we smile to another Jew, we bring a little Ahavas Yisrael to another Jew, we make another Jew feel, identify as a Jew, to be proud to be a Jew. All of this is bringing unity among the Jewish people and is help fighting the battle and really directly helping and save lives on the front line and in the bunkers and everywhere else where Jews are hiding. So we have to understand we have our part, we have our mission, we are all part of this, and the Jewish people, the lion has awoken. And it says that that's a famous line that the Rebbe loves to quote over and over again when it comes to the time of Tisha B'Av. The Tisha B'Av falls in the month which is the constellation is connected with the lion. And it says that in the month of the lion, which is Nebuchadnezzar, came and destroyed the temple, which is also referred to as the Ariel, which is the lion also. So that in the month of Av, the lion, which is the Jewish people, should come and rebuild the temple, the Ariel. So the Ari, in the month of the Ari came and the Ari destroyed the Ariel. And then in the month of Ari, the Ari will rise and he will rebuild the Ariel, the temple in our times. And that is the message that we've heard over and over again from the Rebbe. And with that, I will turn over the microphone to my wife.
Thank you.
One thing I might want to tell you, if you really want, I have a video. Does anybody want to hear it? It's very short. It's an interesting letter. You want to hear this?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me play this one. Let me do a screen share.
Is it down here?
It's,
thing?
what?
This little thing?
No, that's a WhatsApp. Let me do this higher screen. All right. And then I think it will play. Do you see the? You see Jacobson?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Good. So let me play this to see if you can hear it. Let me turn off the air conditioner so that it will be a little less loud. Although I don't think that affects you guys.
Somebody sent me, I have to read this to you before we finish, something that an Arab wrote. His name is Amjad Taha. He's a fan of Israel. He's a friend of the Jews. He wrote this on Friday, the day the war broke out, the 17th of Sivan. Amjad Taha, just like Bilam, when an Arab writes something, you got to listen. They know what they're talking about. Iran once had a lion on its flag. It used to have a lion on it. Today, Israel brought a real one back with sunrise. Yes, when it comes to the Islamic regime in Iran, you don't say, don't do it. You show them what happens if they dare. Otherwise, October 7th won't stay in Israel. It will be repeated in cities across the world. Now is not the time to negotiate with them. And the so-called freedom-loving activists in New York and London, if you truly care about human rights, support the people of Iran the same way you screamed for Gaza, unless your issue was never justice, it was just Jews. Israel is not standing for itself today. Israel is standing for all 8 billion souls on the planet. Israel stands between humanity and the abyss. Do not test the nation of Israel forged in fire. Do not provoke a people born from exodus and exile. By striking the Islamic regime's nuclear weapon in Iran, Israel is doing what the world should have done long ago. Every Israeli today, the world sees your lions. The world feels your eagles soaring. You didn't beg for sympathy. You rose in strength. October 7th was not just an attack on Jews, it was an attack on humanity. And while the world looked away in silence, Israel stood up and fought back for all of us. Now the terrorists of Hamas, the armed wings of the Palestinian Muslim Brotherhood in Gaza, have finally learned this is the end. Return the hostages or be erased. And he finishes with a verse.
All right. Stop share.
Yeah.
I can't. It doesn't allow.
Yeah, no.
All right. So that's what I wanted to share with you. And now I will pass the baton over to Shalom Shehudis. But anyways, that's an Arab. So, like it's just like Bilam, when they say it, they see it. They don't have the Jewish angst and fear about it. So they just put it out directly. And
Thank
with
you
that,
so
I
much,
will
Lisa.
turn it
Thank
over.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Shlama Shahudis.
That was really awesome. I really liked it. Okay. So, does anybody have any questions before I begin?
No.
Okay. So, okay, I'm going to keep it short tonight, and I'm going to start with the four things that I always start with, which is number one, we are in an extraordinary time. We are in the unfolding of the redemption. And how do I know it? I know it because the Lubavitch Rebbe said so, and he was never wrong about any public prophecy, prediction, whatever you want to call them. And he made incredibly logic-defying prophecies, and they've all come true, and this one is coming true now. And the second thing is that you and I were handpicked to be in this time because we have a vital role to play. We're not bystanders. Each one of us has an active role to play. Number three, we have all the tools we need. We have the Torah, which is our guidebook, and we have the mitzvahs, which are our power tools. I said it once, and I can say it as many times as I want. There's nothing that transforms a Jew more than mitzvahs. They help you become you. They help you become the most powerful person that you can possibly become and the most true to yourself. There's no self-actualization course that is better than the mitzvahs, and that can even compare to the mitzvahs. And finally, what we're doing tonight, learning about the redemption, is the fastest way to speed it up. That's what the Rebbe told us. So I just want to say a few things. And, we're all thinking about what Haskell Shimon said. What can we do? The time is so exciting. The events are so are mind-boggling, but we all want to know what can we do. And as he said so beautifully, any mitzvah you do is helping. It's saving lives on the front lines. And we have no idea of the power of everything that we do in our everyday lives to all those mitzvahs, all those smiles at people, all those anything that you do. So anyway, it says, and that's a prophecy. It says that it's not that Hashem is going to bring the geula. Rather, we are shtufim. However you pronounce it in Hebrew, we are partners in creation, and we are partners in bringing the redemption. And in the redemption, what are we going to see in the full and complete redemption? We're not only going to see Hashem somehow is going to be revealed to us, but maybe even as exciting as, if you can say such a thing, we're going to see who we are. We're going to see really who we are, who we've been all along, and that's going to be so exciting. Geula means revelation. What's going to be revealed is you, and not only Hashem, but you also. And okay. So I just want to say what I said last week, and this is the book that you can look it up in, the book of our heritage. In case you missed last week, I'm going to repeat it. It's so hard to get things to focus on this thing with this little camera. Oh well.
Oh, there it is.
Thank you.
What is exactly in the book? Is this historical book or it's based on Torah?
It's based on Torah. It's not a history book. It's a 3-volume set, and the volume all 3 volumes are amazing. It explains each holiday. It explains each significant part of the Jewish year. And in the section where it explains Shavuos, it gives the entire life story of King David, because he was born on Shavuos and he passed away on Shavuos. And anyway, so I briefly I said it last week, and I'm going to say it again because I think it's outstanding that that in here the very first. Can you imagine how I can look it up? I can look up when it was printed, but the Lubavitch Rebbe helped pay for its printing, means it's a good book, and so he says in here, the author Eliyahu Kitov, who says an astounding thing. He talks about the incredibly hard life of David HaMelech. Nobody, no matter how hard you think your life is, it doesn't match David HaMelech's life. And And why? And Hashem did this, and Hashem does things to us, not because He doesn't like us, not to push us down, but to bring out the strengths that He knows are there, but we don't know are there. So too with David HaMelech. He was one of the most extraordinary neshamas ever to come down into this earth, and Hashem gave him incredible difficulties. And Eliyahu Kitov makes an astounding statement. He says that Hashem knew what a powerful soul David HaMelech was, and because of that, Hashem placed him exactly at the midpoint of Jewish history. Jewish history goes from Adam, Harisham, the first being, to Mashiach. Yeah, and not that it's going to stop at Mashiach, but that's the whatever. That's the time period we're speaking about. And so when I first read that, which was many years ago, when I read that, I thought, oh, how exciting! The Rebbe says Mashiach is now, and we all know the calendar year. So I took that year's calendar year and I divided it in half. I said, if David HaMelech is the midpoint, he has to be in the middle. And we know that David's life was short; it was only 70 years. And so I took human history, divided it in half, and I said, oh my goodness, it's absolutely true. David HaMelech is his life, I think he was ready, whatever. And this falls in the short half, the midpoint falls in David HaMelech's life. So I was preparing again for school this year, and I wanted to tell that to the kids. And so I did the math again just to see where we are in David HaMelech's life. And it was so remarkable. I took 5785, the year we're in now. I divided by 2, which I believe is something like 2892. I went to my little concordancia, whatever, it's my little timeline of Jewish history, looked up 2892, and what was it? It is exactly to the year that David was finally accepted as king by all the Jews. And we know that until, the whole thing about, like the Rebbe never said, I am Mashiach, never said that. Yeah. Instead, he said it in so many indirect ways as you can imagine. He said 770 is the numerical value of the Hebrew words house of Mashiach. He said Mashiach's name is Menachem. And then he said in other places, Mashiach's name is Menachem Mendel, which are the Rebbe's first names. He said it again and again and again. He hinted, but he didn't say I am Mashiach. Why didn't he say I am Mashiach? This is how I understand it, because Mashiach doesn't make himself Mashiach. Mashiach, like David HaMelech, he became king of Israel, but he became at first king over his own tribe. Until there's a law that unless a Jewish king is accepted by the people, unless he's truly wanted by the people, he's not king. Ein melech below am. There's no king without a people. He has to have a people who accepts him. He's not a potentate, not a dictator, not somebody who imposes himself on others. So to Mashiach, it's vital that people accept him. When the Rebbe said that on the 28th of Nisan in 51, which was 1991, when the Rebbe said that I've done everything I can, now it's your job. You're the ones who have to bring Mashiach. And the people were flabbergasted. They said, what do you mean, Rebbe? You've got to do it. You're the one with the power. You have to do it. And the Rebbe said, I mean what I say. I don't say anything that I don't mean. I mean what I say. And if I say it's your job, I mean it's your job. So people were all flabbergasted at that point. After that talk, after the talk of the 28th of Nisan, and they gave many, many, many ideas to the Rebbe of what they're going to do to bring Mashiach. And the Rebbe said, no. And finally, some people said, we are collecting signatures of Jews who accept the Rebbe as Melech HaMashiach. And the Rebbe approved, and he said, continue. And the time is auspicious. So anyway, so the point is that we are vital, and We are vital. We do everything we do helps Israel. And sorry, on the 28th of Sivan, tonight is the 28th. After sunset, it becomes the 28th of Sivan. And the Rebbe said that that a Jew definitely does have a Jew can help Hashem. Jew can help Hashem by doing this. Here it is. Jew can help Hashem. He can become shotef lahakadosh baruch hu. He can become a shutaf, whatever, however you pronounce it. This one doesn't have any nakudos, so he can become a partner to Hashem. Bahava'as haga'ula, in bringing the true haga'ula hamitis, the true and complete redemption. How? Hashem needs him. Hashem is, the Rebbe says, okay, shehakadosh baruch hu yifal zos b'shleimus, in order for Hashem to bring about the geula in its complete fashion, who zakuk kaviyachal, he needs, so to speak. Okay, I'm just going to start translating. He needs the partnership of every Jew. Every Jew who is specifically a Jew who is in a body, not the ones in heaven. He needs us here on earth. And because through our deeds, we bring the geula, we bring the redemption. In order to reach the complete geula, he needs, if you can say such a thing, he needs Shekol Yehuda Yaskim Lazeh, that every Jew will agree to this. And even more than this, Shehu Yirtza V'Yachris, that he should want and he should demand, he should publicize. Shelo Rak Shehigia Zman Geulaschem, that not only have we reached the time of the true and complete redemption, Ella Sheyeshna Kvar HaGeula B'Pashtus, but rather that we have already entered, we have already reached the Geula in simplicity. And how can you say we've already reached the Geula in simplicity? How can anybody say such a thing, thinking about October 7th and all that kind of stuff? But if the Rebbe says it, it's a fact. And I have to say that it is. I see that it's definitely. If anybody ever writes to the Rebbe about a problem, you open Igros Kodesh, you open Igrot Kodesh, the holy books of the Rebbe, you put your letter in there and you open it up and you get an answer at 2 a.m, 3 a.m, 5 a.m, 11 at night, whenever you want. Probably hundreds of people are writing every minute. There's so many stories. And is that normal? That's not normal. We've already entered a different kind of time. So anyway, yes, we want the full-blown stuff. We want more than just the miracles that we're seeing in Israel. We want the whole 9 yards. We want the Beis HaMikdash. We want to be together, and we want every Jew to reach their full potential. So anyway, I just want to say that we used to have this women's yeshiva live. It used to be live, and meaning we had it in my house and in our house. And then with COVID, we went online, and we're continuing online. It's a good format. It's easy. We can do it more often. We can do it every week. But I miss the opportunity to get together with everybody and to hear more from everybody. So this Sunday, which happens to be Gimel Tammuz, an auspicious date, this Sunday we're doing it again. We're going to be live at my house, and of course it's not going to be in focus. Of course. And we're going to have not showing up. It's not going to do it. Not behaving for me. It's just not going to do it. Oh well. We're having a garden party. We're having here it is a little bit. I'll wave it back and forth. We're having a garden party at my house on my deck at 11 o'clock this Sunday, Gimel Tammuz, and you're all invited. And I would, here's a little bit, and we would love to see you. It's all women, and only Jewish women, and we're excited. We would love to see you guys come. And with that, I'm going to end the class. Let's see if I can get the whole. I can't get the whole invitation on there.
Shalom Shehudis.
Yeah.
If
we can talk about specifics when I turn.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, good. I'm going to stop the recording, and thank you everybody for coming.